All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. Now, instead of starting with some super complex textbook definition, let's just start with a simple question about the stuff you literally use every single day.
So, take a look at these. I'm willing to bet you've used at least one of them today. But what's the invisible thread, the secret sauce that connects all of them?
Yep, you guessed it, it's artificial intelligence. From the voice assistant on your phone to the shows Netflix just knows you'll love, and even those weirdly specific ads you see online. AI is the engine humming away in the background. So let's take a closer look at how it actually works. Let's dive right in with the tech we carry around with us constantly and explore how it's already thinking and learning all on its own. I mean, think about it for a second. When you ask your phone a question, you just talk to it like you would a person, and somehow it gets it. That magic is a process called natural language processing, or NLP. And in the blink of an eye, an AI translates what you said and then sifts through petabytes of data. That's millions of gigabytes to get you an answer. It's wild. And how about Netflix? You know that feeling when you finish a great show and boom, the next perfect recommendation is just sitting there waiting for you? That is not a lucky guess. Its AI is analyzing everything you watch, what you skip, even when you hit pause, all to build a profile of you that's designed to keep you glued to the screen. But, this technology didn't just appear out of thin air. To really understand what AI is all about, we have to go back to the very beginning, to the one single question that kicked this whole thing off. So the story really gets going during World War II, with the very first computers being built to crack enemy codes. A central figure here was the brilliant mathematician Alan Turing. A few years after the war, in 1950, he published a paper where he posed a question that would basically define the next 70 years of technology. It was this: can machines think? So simple, right? But so incredibly profound. You could argue that everything we see in AI today is, in some way, just an attempt to finally answer that question. So how in the world do you actually get a machine to think? Well, the whole goal is to replicate the key functions of our own human intelligence. And we can really break this down into 4 main pillars. Let's start with this. Just picture a Tesla cruising down the highway, no driver. But then it suddenly starts to slow down. Why? Because it has seen a traffic jam building up ahead. This first pillar is all about just understanding the world around you. This is called perception. And it's pretty intuitive, actually. Just like we use our eyes and ears to figure out what's happening, a smart car uses its cameras, its radar, and all its other sensors to perceive the world, spot obstacles, and just gather information. Okay, pillar number 2. Now, what's funny about this next slide is how incredibly simple it seems to us. If you need a 40% to pass a test, and somebody gets a 60%, they passed. Obviously. We figure that out instantly without even thinking about it. That right there is reasoning, the ability to apply logic and connect the dots. For us, it's just second nature. But for a machine, that whole logical framework has to be painstakingly built, coded right in, teaching it how to draw conclusions just like we do. We've all done something like this, right? Made a mistake and immediately learned our lesson. This ability to get better based on experience is absolutely fundamental to intelligence, and it's our third pillar. And this, of course, is learning. We want machines to learn from what happens, to take in new information and to remember it so they don't make the same dumb mistake twice. The whole point is for them to get smarter and better over time. Okay, so let's see how perception, reasoning, and learning all come together to create our fourth and final pillar, taking action, or making a decision. And for this, we're going to use an amazing example of an AI expert system that you might find in something as simple as a pizza app. Okay, let's walk through this. A user with high cholesterol orders a cheese-burst pizza. First, the AI system perceives this order. Then it uses reasoning. It checks the user's ID against medical data, finds the high cholesterol, and concludes this pizza is a bad idea, so it issues a warning. But the user just ignores it and orders anyway. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The system learns from this behavior, and then it makes a decision. The next time that user logs in, the cheese burst option is just gone. The AI deactivated it to prevent another unhealthy choice. That's all 4 pillars working together in a single sequence. So we've seen how machines can perceive, reason, learn, and decide. But when you put it all together, what's the end game? What is the ultimate, big picture goal of artificial intelligence?
It really comes down to this. To break down the barrier of intelligence that separates us from machines. The entire mission is to close that gap.
And that leads us to our final, crystal clear definition. Artificial intelligence is the quest to build machines that can basically replicate us, to behave like humans, think like humans, and work like humans. It's about creating genuinely intelligent systems.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on. We've seen that an AI can learn from its mistakes and make its own decisions, like taking a pizza off the menu. So, if a machine makes a decision, who's ultimately responsible for the outcome? That is the massive question we're all going to be facing as this incredible technology keeps evolving. Thanks for watching.